Like 5,000 likes to this video, we will upload more patriotic news. Thank you. Melania Trump just announced her new project and liberals are freaking out. Melania Trump is facing a lot of attacks from liberals who are constantly spreading lies that she hates her husband and would rather live in New York. But the truth is that Melania is much more different First Lady than Michelle Obama and Hillary Clinton, and because of that she paused her holiday to make a major announcement regarding illegal drug use. And the liberals instantly started attacking her again. Melania is a different type of First Lady who does not have the illusion that she will save the world and be the best politician like Michelle who implemented her disastrous diet regime for our kids, or Hillary who tried to legislate universal health care. Anyhow, her announcement, that she is interested in an opiate epidemic, has the liberals going out of control. She tweeted that she will be joining Trump's meeting with Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price about the drug crisis. Opiate abuse is an escalating health crisis affecting countless families across the country, said the spokeswoman for the First Lady, Stephanie Grisham. The well-being of children is a priority for the First Lady, and this epidemic affects them in many different ways, so she requested to attend today's briefing. The New York Daily News was also out of control with their article. The First Lady said she would make cyberbullying her pet cause, but it looks like she's already moved on to the opiate epidemic. In her first comment on the drug crisis sweeping the heartland, Melania Trump announced that she would join her husband at a meeting with Secretary of Health and Human Services Tom Price on Tuesday, more than 9 months after declaring that she would dedicate herself to fighting cyberbullying as FLOTUS. The liberals really do not know how to find a way to undermine Melania, so they decided to criticize her for taking an interest in another matter. What is extremely ironic is the fact that they are calling her out about cyberbullying and they are the ones doing it. Melania already proved to be an asset overseas with her role and the amazing reactions she received from the foreign press. And also, there is nothing wrong in doing two things at the same time. Everybody does it, so why is wrong if Melania is doing it? The liberals loved Michelle was implementing a healthier lunch program while telling us to get up and move. The drug crisis is real and affects millions of Americans. Also, Melania isn't the First Lady to take interest in drug addiction. Nancy Reagan made the 1980s the decade of the "Just Say No to Drugs" campaign. The liberals are just trying to harm Melania with their bogus claims and attacks. Please share this post on Facebook to support Melania Trump. What is your opinion on this? Scroll down to comment. Breaking top Trump advisor connected to George Soros. What should Trump do? One of the greatest challenges President Trump currently faces is dealing with administrators who do not share his views on American policy. The president relies on the expertise of longtime government officials, some of whose loyalties lie elsewhere. Since adding H.R. McMaster to the administration, Trump and the National Security Advisor have had their ideological differences. Now, has revealed that McMaster was recently employed at a think tank with ties to Hungarian billionaire George Soros, one of the biggest opponents of President Trump's agenda. From September 2006 to February 2017, H.R. McMaster was a member and senior consulting fellow at the International Institute for Strategic Studies, IS, a think tank with offices in Washington, D.C., Singapore, and Bahrain. IS has a mission to promote the adoption of sound policies to further global peace and security and maintain civilized international relations. However, IS's stances on major foreign policy issues are at odds with the platform on which Donald Trump ran his campaign. Most notably, IS supported the Obama administration brokered Iran nuclear deal and has denied charges that the Iranian government has violated its end of the agreement. This is a deal which President Trump has continually denounced. That the Iran deal bans U.S. nuclear inspectors from examining Iran's nuclear sites and lifts sanctions that will ultimately give them as much as $150 billion, money that Obama admitted would likely be used to finance terrorism. Not surprisingly, Trump called the Iran deal the worst deal ever. Nevertheless, the president recertified the deal last month, contrary to his repeated promise on the campaign trail to nullify it. McMaster's presence in the White House gives further understanding as to perhaps why President Trump has made such a great reversal on the Iran issue. McMaster was one of the leading voices in Trump's circle of advisors urging the president to recertify the nuclear deal. McMaster has also been accused of purging the Trump administration of officials who followed the president's lead of taking a tough stance against Iran. Just recently, McMaster removed Trump aide Ezra Cohen-Watnick from the National Security Council. Cohen-Watnick is one of the most notable anti-Iran hawks in the White House. NSA advisor H.R. McMaster has ties to a think tank connected to Hungarian billionaire George Soros. Do you think this affects his work as National Security Advisor? Other prominent aides removed by McMaster include Derek Harvey, who held the Middle East portfolio at NSC, and Rich Higgins, who served as the NSC's Director of Strategic Planning. In each case, McMaster has replaced the Iran hardliners with officials whose views on Iran more closely align with his own and with IS's. Not only has IS been critical of President Trump's approach to Iran, they also receive money from George Soros. IS has received money from the Plowshares Fund, a controversial group that helped market the Iran deal during Obama's presidency. Plowshares is in turn financed by George Soros's Open Society Institute. How the Open Society Institute regularly contributes to leftist political causes and candidates around the world. It appears Trump's America First policy is being thwarted at every turn by his national security advisor. The president will soon have to decide whether the experience McMaster brings to the table is worth alienating his base and hindering his goals in the Middle East. Jealous traitor John McCain doesn't like how Trump threatened North Korea. Disgraced traitor John McCain continues to be jealous of President Trump's role as commander-in-chief while trying to sabotage his every move. This time, McCain is not happy with President Trump threatening Kim Jong-un of North Korea with fire and fury like the world has never seen. Maybe he'd like to join Kim Jong-un and side with North Korea similarly to how he sided with Democrats on health care. Senator John McCain, R. Arizona, took exception to President Trump's remarks Tuesday that further provocation by North Korea will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. McCain argued the tough rhetoric is unlikely to help as tensions rise between the United States and North Korea over the latter's nuclear program. I don't know what he's saying and I've long ago given up trying to interpret what he says, McCain said of Trump during an interview with a local Arizona radio station first reported by NBC. That kind of rhetoric, I'm not sure how it helps. McCain said the U.S. risks getting into a serious confrontation with North Korea, and invoked former President Teddy Roosevelt's famous big stick policy. In other words, the old walk softly but carry a big stick, Teddy Roosevelt's saying, which I think is something that should have applied because all it's going to do is bring us closer to a serious confrontation, McCain warned. I think this is very, very, very serious. Trump warned North Korea not to make any threats to the United States on Tuesday after that North Korea has produced a nuclear warhead small enough to place on a missile. North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States, Trump told reporters Tuesday. He has been very threatening beyond a normal state, and as I said they will be met with fire, fury and frankly power, the likes of which this world has never seen before. McCain said he takes exception to Trump's remarks. I take exception to the president's words because you got to be sure you can do what you say you're going to do, said McCain, the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee. IT's official Megyn Kelly is finished. Megyn Kelly was her own ruin. The former Fox News host has no one to blame for the failure of her Sunday night news magazine show but herself. Last week, Kelly received the bad news that her new NBC offering, Sunday Night with Megyn Kelly, will be taken off the air early due to disastrous ratings. Kelly's fate was sealed this week. Deadline reports that last week's season finale of Sunday Night with Megyn Kelly was surpassed by reruns of NBC's Dateline aired last Sunday. Kelly's news magazine-style show was originally scheduled for a 10-episode limited summer run. However, NBC canceled the run after only 8 episodes due to an underwhelming performance, according to Breitbart. Undoubtedly, Kelly was the problem with Sunday Night. NBC executives are attempting to paint the show's cancellation in a positive light, but TV ratings reveal that Kelly is unpalatable to the majority of Americans. This is consistent with her declining performance at Fox News before her departure with the network. A source for Fox News told Breitbart that there is no way Kelly could come back to the network. The season finale of Sunday Night featured an interview with British comedian Ricky Gervais and was watched by only 3.5 million people, scoring a meager 0.5 rating in the key 18 to 49-year-old viewer demographic. The following week, NBC aired a rerun of Dateline in the same 7 p.m. Sunday night time slot. The Dateline rerun drew an audience of 4 million viewers and received a rating of 0.6. This reveals that Kelly's poor viewership was not a matter of the time slot or the news magazine format of the show, but rather Kelly, who is responsible for the NBC failure. This is not the first time that Kelly was beaten by reruns of NBC's original news magazine show, Dateline. A Dateline rerun outperformed the last 3 weeks of original episodes of Sunday Night when the new show enjoyed a week off for the extended 4th of July weekend. However, NBC is not deterred. The network is dedicated to generating a return on the $17 million contract they signed with Kelly to steal her from Fox News. NBC explains that the cancellation of Sunday Night will offer the news anchor the time she needs to be freed up to focus on her other roles at NBC. NBC didn't just buy a failing Sunday night show for $17 million, but also a daily morning show offering and special event coverage from Kelly. Now, the network is desperately prepping Kelly for her role as the host of the third hour of the Today Show, now ominously named Megyn Kelly Today. This is the final test for Kelly's career. Before the launch of her primetime show, an executive from a rival network told CNN Money that daytime is a huge gamble and the whole thing unravels if it fails. Adding, "The verdict will be in very fast in daytime and very fast in primetime. But if the show fails, she could end up fading into obscurity." Well, the verdict isn't for Kelly's primetime show. The success of Megyn Kelly Today is the only thing standing between Kelly and a complete end to her TV. President Trump prepares a major shock to H.R. McMaster and Robert Mueller. President Trump prepares a massive shock to the liberal elites. We know that H.R. McMaster and Robert Mueller are colluding with America's worst enemies to undercut President Trump. But that will never happen, as Trump has a perfect plan for them. They took out Lieutenant General Mike Flynn as Trump's national security advisor, and after that, they continued to attack Trump, hoping to get him impeached. H.R. McMaster and Robert Mueller colluded with the jihadists to help them obstruct America in fighting against radical Islam named as the Purge. Obama administration started this purge that lasted from 2008-2011. They forbid the U.S. intel community from using any words the Muslim Brotherhood thought were insulting. They also forbid any studies on radical Islam that happened after 9/11. McMaster's was a part of this, an organization funded by Soros, which was working to ensure that purge occurred at the top levels at the CIA, FBI, and DOJ. Claire Lopez, a former CIA expert, explained about the dangerous aspects of the purge, noting that the 2004 9/11 Commission report contained hundreds of instances of the use of words like jihad, Muslim, and Islam. By the time the FBI published its unclassified counterterrorism lexicon in 2008, those words were gone, entirely missing from the document. That same year, the State Department, DHS, and the National Counterterrorism Center, NCTC, all instructed their employees to refrain from using the words jihad or mujahideen to describe Islamic terrorism and its perpetrators. And of course, Robert Mueller was the FBI director during that time and allowed the implementation of the purge. And now he is one of the liberal elites who work to take down President Trump. McMaster is acting from within, and until now he has dismissed all the Trump's devotees appointed by Flynn, who was upsetting the purge. According to Conservative Review, the list of pro-Israel voices in the administration that were removed from McMaster's National Security Council now includes Steve Bannon, K.T. McFarland, Ezra Cohen Wadnick, Derek Harvey, Rich Higgins, Adam Lovinger, and Tara Dahl. Now it's clear that McMaster and Mueller are Soros collaborators in his plan to harm America. Soros wanted to use radical Islam to fulfill his plans for reducing America's power, and McMaster and Mueller were helping him to achieve his goal. Now they do everything in their power to end Trump. Michael Savage, a radio host, stated that this certainly leads to civil war, but the president prepares a major surprise, and that is the American patriots which will defend their great country. If the left takes Trump down, through special counsel Robert Mueller or through any other source, and deny Eddie, middle-class Americans, his vote, there will be a civil war in this country, Savage stated. Savage stated, "I'm warning you. All of you leftists who think you're going to steal our vote, you're wrong. We've had it up to here. We've put up with your garbage in the universities. We've put up with your LTH coming out of your LTH factories in Hollywood," Savage continued. "We've put up with your hatred that comes out of your newspapers. We've put up with your LTH and your hatred coming out of CNN. But, if you do the next step and steal our president, I warn you. You've seen nothing yet. You will see the day of the locust in this country." Please share this post on Facebook with your thoughts. What is your opinion on this? Scroll down to comment below. A 61-year-old Michigan man delivered justice to a thug with a gun. A 61-year-old Michigan man just stopped to get some coffee when suddenly a hooligan pointed a gun to his back. But this elderly man wasn't going to let some kid mess with him, so he brought justice to this little punk. As one local news network reported, there was an attempt of an armed robbery that happened last Sunday in Detroit, Michigan. The police stated that an older man was at the gas station waiting in line when a teen punk shoved a gun into his back and demanded that the man hand over his gun. The 61-year-old gentleman just received his gun-carrying permit and was enjoying his Second Amendment right to bear arms. Sadly, for him, the 16-year-old punk thought that he is an easy target but soon regret it. The teen hooligan was identified by the police as Xavier Futrell. On the footage obtained from the surveillance camera in the gas station, you can see the thug demanding the 61-year-old man, Darius Summers, to hand over the gun. Later in an interview with 12 News, he said, "I said, all I want to do is leave, and he said, you can't leave. I said, okay. What do you want to do?" Futrell will soon regret attacking this man. When Futrell asked for the gun, Summers gave it to him, but on a whole different way. Summers pulled out his gun and shot the little punk in the stomach. The thug dropped his gun and fell on the ground, then he crawled out the door. He is lucky he didn't get killed, and hopefully he learn a lesson to never again attack people. "I didn't shoot to kill, I shot to save his life," Summers stated. "I'd never been through this before. I'd never shot a gun before. I'd never. All this is new to me," Summers continued. Summers said he first tried to reason with the misguided youth. "Why do you got to go through this?" I said, "This is unnecessary," and he just insisted and he wanted my gun, so I gave it to him, Summers said, talking about when he was forced to shoot the attacker. Futrell was a threat to Summers' life, so he had every right to defend himself. Futrell was arrested and legally accused of assault with intent to murder, carrying a weapon with unlawful intent, and a felony rearms violation. Please share this post on Facebook with your thoughts. What is your opinion on this? Scroll down to comment below.